History does not repeat itself. Man does. How you doing? It's Rob Hunter. Equal matters. Division. That's what we're talking about today because it is the world's largest economy. That's Cal, the guitar hero, on the intro. Shout out to Cal. How you doing? The way we communicate, quite frankly, it sucks. And this is what I've learned as a talk show host. I did that for 25 years. Language is the most powerful thing on earth, and division is the largest economy. This is a lesson staring us in the face again. I mentioned the quote, "History does not repeat itself, man does." Voltaire said that, which I love because we're often told that history repeats itself. Well, no, history is a choice. And man has a pattern, is what Voltaire is saying. In looking at our modern history, this is what it seems like to me. Every 4 generations or so, trust wears down. So let's go back 100 years. 100 years ago, 1929, America broke. The economy collapsed. The world's economy collapsed. The end result of that was a war that ravaged the world. Millions of people died in that war, and millions of other people died of starvation because the world broke. But then America rallied, saved the world from the Nazis, ushered in a brand new era, restoring trust. Trust after World War II was at an all-time high. But then 20 years later, cracks began to show. The country that saved the world got bogged down in a small Asian country. The government lied every single day. Protests erupted. The protests were aimed at the soldiers. Many were called baby killers. Some were spat on, which I find so ironic because no one hawked a loogie at the politicians that sent the boys to Nam. That war, for us in America, ended in embarrassment, costing millions of unnecessary deaths and billions of dollars. And then less than a year later, after that American black eye, we get another one, punched right in the face on the other eye when the president resigns in disgrace. Not because of a war, because he broke the law. So the rest of the 70s is a hangover. We have a slight resurgence in the 80s. America's feeling good. The economy's humming along. America only picked on Grenada and Panama for easy military victories. In 1989, the Berlin Wall fell that separated freedom and communism. And that led right into the 90s. 90s, my heyday. My teenage years in the 90s. I happen to think it's the greatest decade ever. It was only filled with a minor dust-up in Iraq. That ended quickly. The economy sputtered but recovered. Life was pretty good. Until one Tuesday morning in 2001. Trust shattered because that was not supposed to happen. The government had failed to protect the homeland for the first time since 1941. 2 dates that will live in infamy with kamikaze planes almost exactly 70 years apart. Think about that. What followed? 20 years of war. Trillions of dollars being spent across 2 countries. Thousands of soldiers killed and injured with no clear victory. Along the way, we had other things happen. All levels of government failed during Hurricane Katrina. The New Orleans city government, the state of Louisiana government, and the federal government. And I know this firsthand because I was there broadcasting live during Hurricane Katrina. I lived in New Orleans at the time as a talk show host. And I could see after that moment how far trust in government had fallen. Hit an all-time low. 2 years after Katrina, the economy collapsed, right around the time social media started to become ubiquitous. Trillions more were spent, mostly bailing out companies that screwed up. So now, the end result of that is trust in business is falling. And as you can see, if you spend any time on social media, Americans are growing more divided. Protests are spreading. The news loves this because intention is opportunity. So the news amplifies their coverage. And if you think about it, even going back to 2007 economic collapse, it really stuck in that tension. And the worse it got, the more social media got bigger. Platforms, new ones introduced. Profits come in like a wind machine with billion-dollar bills in it. And then, of course, you know who wins. The same guy we've been talking about nonstop for at least 11 years. And we'll add in a bonus, the first worldwide pandemic of our lives. Then, the master at driving division, he wins again. As mentioned, division is big business. The news is cashing in on it. Ratings are higher when people are fighting and when things blow up. That's just the way that it is. Higher ratings equals higher ad rates. I also know this because I was there working as a talk show host, watching our ad rates go up the more bad things that were happening during the pandemic. Ad rates for my company at an all-time high. Listening was at an all-time high. But media companies aren't the only ones cashing in. The most valuable companies in the world are tech and social media companies. They make fancy chips and devices that are designed to learn our emotional triggers. Then they pull those triggers as often as they can, keeping millions of us addicted to the constant stroll. And this is worldwide. Last July, I traveled to Western Africa. I went to Senegal, Togo, Ghana, and Nigeria. And even there, just about everyone has a phone and a constant scroll. But wait, there's more. Because division across the globe leads to massive amounts of military spending. Bombs fly, stocks go up, executives buy Porsches. Plenty of people bake and bank off division. This is where man repeats himself. Every 4 generations or so, trust breaks down. And you can always spot division a mile away because it always starts with language. There's a concept that's called othering. When human beings divide themselves into groups and don't accept the others. It has happened throughout human history, going back to the Crusades at the very least in the 1100s. But in modern times, fast forward 100 years ago when the world broke, what happened in Nazi Germany? The first step was the language of othering. Rwanda, genocide in the 90s, othering. And you're seeing with that right now, the language, the division, othering. Division always starts with language. But nonetheless, despite all of this, I am an optimist. And one day, I just have this sense that we'll outgrow Voltaire's observation that history does not repeat itself, man does. But only if we understand this very critical, important part of what it's like to be a human being. Language is the most powerful thing on earth. And while the way that we, through social media and news media, communicate sucks, the way you communicate does not have to suck. Because another thing I learned in my 25 years of talk radio, all I can control is me. I cannot change the way a city votes. I cannot go beyond raising awareness. But I can impact people one-on-one, in groups. And I can do so positively whenever I choose. Because like the great rap group Black Sheep said, the choice is yours. And the way you communicate doesn't have to suck. So use your skills wisely. I'm Rob Hunter. This is Equal Matters. For more, go to robhunter.substack.com. robhunter.substack.com. Talk soon. Cheers.